Today's treatment is a brow maintenance appointment for one of my pregnant clients. Normally, she alternates between my signature brow treatment and a brow lamination. I'm based in the UK and I follow my insurance, training and product guidelines, which means that I don't perform tinting or lamination during pregnancy or while a client might be breastfeeding. So this appointment is all about maintenance, keeping the shape nice, crisp and clean, and also showing my client how she can fill a couple of gaps in her brows really easily with some simple makeup techniques. One last thing to mention, just so you know, this is my own business and most of my clients are very long standing. I'm talking years and years of loyalty. So naturally we do chat throughout the treatments. So the first step really is for me to assess how her brows have grown since her last appointment. I then start by cleansing with a water-based cleanser. I particularly like a micellar water on a dry cotton pad for this stage. I'll include a link in the description box to all my favourite products and treatment tools. I then brush all of the eyebrow hair upwards just to see her natural shape and make it easier to identify where I want to wax. Because of hormonal changes during pregnancy, I do like to protect a client's skin with a very light powder before I go in with a wax. This reduces the risk of grazing. I'm using a warm cream wax and I personally like to apply this with an orange stick. I find that it gives me much more control and a really crisp, precise line. I dip the tip into the wax and then place it just beneath the brow line, working from front through to the tail. Once the wax has been distributed along the brow line, I then flatten the stick slightly against the skin and then gently press the wax upwards towards the brow. I find this method gives me the most control and creates a beautiful crisp finish. I've been a brow artist for over 14 years and because of that experience, I often fold and reuse my wax strip. But honestly, I would not recommend this if you're a beginner. It can be very easy to accidentally remove hair you didn't intend to. If you're starting out, just use a fresh strip for each removal. I usually work in 3 sections, 1 strip for the tail and then 2 smaller strips to divide the front. However, if I'm concerned about sensitivity or skin grazing, I'll break it down into even smaller sections for more control. When removing, you want to press firmly over the strip, then hold the skin really nice and taut and just remove quickly in the opposite direction of the hair growth. For the middle section, I actually prefer to move and stand above my client's head. That way I can see the symmetry much more clearly. I apply the wax in 2 smaller sections here because precision is really important to me. If the client doesn't have much hair through the centre, I'll keep the wax very tight to the front of the brow. But then some clients will have growth that comes slightly down the side of the nose or meets in the middle, so in those cases I would definitely remove that hair as well. I always tailor my treatments to my client's needs, but I make sure there is actually hair to remove. Otherwise, you're just waxing skin unnecessarily. I repeat this method until both brows are fully waxed, top and bottom. Once I'm happy with the shape, I apply a soothing lotion to remove any residue and help to calm the skin. If this video is helpful, I'd love it if you take a minute just to click the like button, and if detailed brow content is your thing, make sure that you're subscribed. The skin under the brows is some of the thinnest on our body, so I keep my wax line very precise and very close to the brow itself. I won't wax low down onto the eyelid. Instead, I'll tweeze that area for more control and of course to protect my client's skin. I love using a magnifier lamp here. It's especially good if you haven't tinted the brows or if a client's hair is naturally very fair. At 10 times magnification, it is so much easier to see those fine, barely there hairs. When I tweeze, I make sure I've got a firm grip as close to the skin as possible, and I pull the hair in the direction of the growth. That way you'll remove the hair from the root rather than just snapping it off at the surface, which means smoother regrowth and results will last much longer for your client. Now I like to lightly thread around the eyebrows to soften and blend the wax line. It adds some extra definition to the shape while still keeping the brows looking really natural. Because my client usually loves a laminated finish, I recreate a similar effect using makeup. I mix a brow gel with 2 different powder shades to get the closest possible colour and tone match, and then I apply it with a fine angled brush in upward strokes. I find that keeps the brows lifted and defined but without looking heavy. I build the colour really gradually. I like to layer and blend as I go, and that way it stays soft and natural. The combination of gel and powder gives that subtle hold and depth that she'd normally get from a lamination and tint treatment. To finish, I'll add a few fine hair strokes just to help fill small gaps or sparse areas, and I continue to blend with my spoolie until everything looks really seamless and balanced. If you enjoyed this treatment, I've got another that I think you'll love. I'll link it here. Thanks for watching.